everyone. Welcome to your upper body strength circuits class. Structure of class today, very similar to our circuit and Tabata, except no Tabatas. It's broken up into 2 circuits. In each of the circuits, I'm going to give you 5 exercises. You go through those 5 exercises 3 times using an interval structure of 45 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, and then move on to the next exercise for 45 seconds. The 10 seconds of rest, it's just to give you transition time really so that you can get from one move set up into the other. Now when you finish a completed set, I will give you a full 30 seconds before you repeat it. And in between the 2 circuits, you get a full minute to recover, maybe a little more. During that time, I will show you a preview of the upcoming exercises. So for equipment, we're going to use dumbbells. You just need a set of medium dumbbells. If you have access to multiple options though, it is always nice to have a slightly heavier, slightly lighter option so you can adjust as you go through. So I have a pair of 10s and a pair of 8-pound weights. Again, just use that as a guide. You may go way heavier than that. You may go lighter than that. Match it to your fitness level. As always, we are going to start class with a guided warm-up focused on mobility and then building some heat and warmth in the body. And then we'll finish up class with a quick guided cool down. You don't need your weights for the warm-up. Let's get right into it. You're going to start standing. And I want you to reach your arms forward at chest height, palms facing towards each other. So take a big inhale. And as you exhale, I want you to nod your chin. And as you start to round forward through the spine, I want you to reach your arms forward, keeping them parallel to the floor. So you're going to end up in this sort of semi-forward fold through the mid and upper spine, staying pretty neutral through the lumbar spine though. So you feel this big opening across your mid-back, and we're just going to stay here and breathe. As you inhale through the nose, focus on the expansion of the back of your rib cage. Exhale out through the mouth. 2 more deep breaths like this. Last time, really try to expand into that mid-back area. Exhale it out. And on your next inhale, you're just going to stack your spine back up tall. Now from here, we're going to come into a twist. On an inhale, I want you to take your left arm and you're going to twist it open. Right arm stays reaching forward, and then exhale, just close back in, same side. So your hip bones are still pointing forward as you do this. And the twist is coming from your spine. It's not initiating with your arm. So you can see your hand in your peripheral vision the whole time. You're not just flinging the arm open. Let's take it to the other side. On an inhale, right arm sweeps open. Exhale, back to center. Stay tall as if you could increase the space between your vertebrae in this, just to reduce compression. One more time. And then reach those arms to the side at shoulder height. We're going to start tracing arm circles. I want them to start small, doesn't matter the direction. As they gradually start to get bigger and bigger, the arms will start to come in front of your body and then out to the sides. You can always see your hands in your peripheral vision though. You don't want to open up so much that you flare open through the rib cage. 2 more, nice and big. And then we're just going to return to start and switch the direction of those circles. Start small. And as you gradually make them bigger, hands start to sweep in front of you a little bit. Now at your biggest circles. Give me 2 more. And arms by your side. We're going to come into a hip hinge combo. To start, let's actually reach our arms up overhead. Just kidding. Palms face forward. Now from here, I want you to bend the elbows. And as you do, flip your palms so you're kind of patting yourself on the back. And then straighten those arms back up overhead. Now we're going to do a hip hinge. And as the hips hinge and the torso goes forward, your arms sweep back. Give me a tricep kickback. Bend the elbows. Straighten them. Come up tall, arms sweep overhead. Keep that going. So we have that little pat at the top, sweep, tricep kick back here. So we're opening up through the backs of the arms. And many of the movements that we're doing in our warm-up, you will see later with the weights. Now I know there's a lot in this combo, so if you mess it up, don't worry, just jump back in. One more time. This time, hold the hinge. I want you to flip your palms down towards the floor and kind of like you're tracing a snow angel, I want you to sweep them overhead and then pull them back. So we're establishing this connection to our mid-back here by doing this movement in a hinge position. Because a lot of arm exercises, they're really initiating with your back because that is where your shoulder blades attach. One more sweep. And then I want you to forward fold, hands to the mat. Walk yourself out into a plank position, and then right away I want you to walk the knees in so you're in a bear plank, knees under hips. We're going to retract and protract the shoulder blades. So the shoulder blades slide in towards each other and then wide kind of towards your armpits. You're trying to maintain the shape of your spine, those neutral curves, so it's just the scapula sliding. 3 more. Make sure you're not totally locked out through the elbows. Last time. Hips up, walk your hands in towards your feet, roll up to stand. We're going to finish our warm-up just by building a little more heat in the body. We're going to start with a shallow squat with a side bend. So semi-squat, and then one arm sweeps up overhead, other side. 2 movements in this dynamic section, and we'll just alternate between them. The second one, we're going to turn to the right in kind of a lunge position, arms overhead, and we'll do a little knee drive, reaching and pulling through the arms. Pivot to the right in 3, 2, turn to the right. Arms reach overhead in this slight lunge position, and you're just going to drive that left knee in towards your chest as the arms reach and pull. We're going to come through center, squat to side bend, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up, we'll do the reach and pull again. This time we'll turn to the left. In 3, 2, 1. Turn to the left, arms overhead, back right knee pulls in a semi-lunge position on your left side. We'll do one more round of the squat to the side bend in 4, 3, 2, 1. So coming up, I'm going to show you a preview of our first 5 exercises. Circuit 1 starts in 3, 2, 1. Okay, here's your preview. First up is a tricep extension variation, and just do it with me real quick because it is a little funky. Palms face forward, thumbs point down in front of your chest, elbows slightly lifted. You straighten the elbows up, kind of like a cheerleader. Bring it back to the starting position, and then you're going to bring the palms to face each other, elbows come down, and you do a press up in front. And then rotate back to start just like that. From there, we're going to be in a hinged position. It is going to be a tricep circle around your hips, and then a wide row, and then palms face in towards each other, and a reverse fly, all in that hinged position. From there, you put the weights down. We have a body weight exercise. You go down to the mat. In a reverse tabletop position, it's 3 tricep dips, and then you lift the hips up into that reverse tabletop, lower them back down, another 3 tricep dips. You're then on your back, you're going to grab your weights. It's a tricep overhead pull into a narrow press. We finish with another body weight exercise. It's going to be a push-up with a hip slide. If you need to modify that push-up, you can always come down to your knees for it. Okay, I'm going to start with my 8-pound weights. We have that tricep extension variation to that press up. So thumbs point down, palms face forward, elbows slightly lifted. Neutral through the pelvis, unlock your knees. Let's go. On an exhale, straighten the arms, bend it back to start. Rotate palms in towards each other. Press up in front of your face and lower, and then rotate back to start. You'll notice I'm exhaling when the arms are going overhead in that Y shape and then in that press up. That helps me maintain the connection to my core and to the front of my rib cage so that I stay in neutral. If you notice yourself rocking back and sinking into your low back, try taking one foot and staggering it like 6 inches behind you, like a little kickstand. Rest. So we're in a hinge position. We have that 3-part combo: tricep circle, wide row, reverse fly. Palms start facing in towards your thighs or behind you. So we circle, Weights can kind of tap behind you and lower. Give me a wide row, initiating it by slightly retracting the shoulder blades, and then rotate palms in towards each other. One reverse fly. So you circle, you row, palms face in, you fly. We're trying to maintain a neutral spine as we do this. So you're not sinking into your low back. You're not jutting the head forward. So keep reaching that tailbone back. Okay, weights go down, make your way to the mat. We're in that reverse tabletop position, so bend your knees, spread out through your fingers, open through the chest, but don't flare open through your ribs. Lift your hips up to a 1-inch hover. 3 tricep dips, elbows go straight back. And then you're gonna drive through the seat, lift up into that reverse tabletop, lower down to your hover. 3 tricep dips, stay open through the chest, don't let those shoulders roll forward, drive the hips up. So if this is an upper body workout, why add in that lift of the hips? Why not just do the tricep dips? Well, I want you to challenge your shoulder mobility and your ability to keep the chest open. Now for this next one, just a heads up, I'm gonna grab my 10-pound weights instead. It's gonna be that chest press with that tricep pullover. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my heavier weights. I'm gonna lay down on my back, narrow chest press, tricep pullover. So palms face in. So the elbows drop down towards your rib cage, stay in close, press up overhead. And then those arms go overhead and pull them back up. 1 narrow press, 1 tricep pull. My ponytail is in a bad position for this one. When those arms go overhead, don't arch your back, okay? So don't feel like you have to tap the weights to the floor by any means. Only as far overhead as you can control. Rest. All right, weights go down, push up with that hip slide. Spread out through those fingers, find your plank position. Bend the knees as the hips slide back. Shoot forward. Give me 1 push-up. Now stay active through the legs. So squeeze through the quads and glutes. Inhale as you lower. Exhale, press the mat away. To modify knees, come down for your push-up. And then lift the knees for the hip slide. Another option is you could do 2 hip slides between every push-up, just so that you slightly reduce the number of push-ups you end up doing. Rest. Okay, you have 30 seconds to recover. So with a strictly strength workout like this, you are really in control of how hard or how not so hard it is. So I want you to assess after that first round. Are you good with the weights you're using? Should you maybe go up a little bit? If form is getting sloppy, go down a little bit in weight. I'm gonna stick with my 8s. So we have that tricep extension variation with the press up. Thumbs point down, palms face forward to start. 45 seconds of work. Now a little tip if you're having trouble knowing which weights you should be using for different exercises. Typically with overhead work and shoulder work like this, you would want to use your slightly lighter of your options. And then if we're going like strictly biceps or chest, you can go a little heavier. That's just a general guidance though. Every body is different. 10 seconds of rest. We find that hinge position, so break at the hips. Tricep circle, wide row, reverse fly. Now, when you do that wide row, it's not going to be a huge range of motion. Don't think about trying to bring your elbows higher than your back. Think of the retraction of the shoulder blades, and then the elbows go wide. Weights go down, make your way to the mat, reverse tabletop with those tricep dips. Spread out through your fingers. Hands are under shoulders. Press the mat away, broad across those collarbones, but don't lose connection to your rib cage. Hips are at a 1-inch hover, 3 pulses, and then you lift those hips up. Now you'll notice when I lift my hips up, my gaze is still forward, so don't feel like you have to drop the head back. So the elbows are shooting straight back in that tricep dip. So you almost kind of think of wrapping your arms back and in ever so slightly. If you need to modify these, you can put your butt right down on the mat and do the little tricep dips from there instead of having your hips hovering. Rest. Okay, I'm going to grab my heavier of the weight options, my 10 pounds, and I'm going to move my ponytail this time. Narrow press, and then we have that tricep pull. So the palms face in towards each other, drop the weights down, press them overhead. When you do this pull, this overhead pull, make sure your elbows aren't locked out, there's a bend to them. So I'm inhaling as I go over, I'm exhaling, connecting to my abdominals as I pull the weights back. Lots of work for our triceps and our chest this first circuit. Rest. Weights go down. We have push-ups with that hip slide. Woo. I'm going to start my push-ups from my feet, and then I may be modifying. So bend the knees, hips slide back, think open across the chest, shoot it forward. Now when you're doing the push-ups, I want you to make sure your elbows are going back at a 45-degree angle. They're not going straight out to the sides. So keep doing what you're doing, but you almost think about taking the pinky side of your hand and almost spiraling it out and down like that, so that you really connect to this area in your armpits. That's going to stabilize your shoulder blade, and it's going to give you a more effective, stronger push-up. Rest. Whew. Okay, 30 seconds to recover. We're going to go through that one final time. Final time with these exercises. I'm sticking with my 8 pounds, but remember, always assess after every round through. Do you need to go up or down? Tricep extension to the press up. Thumbs point down, palms face forward. You extend those arms up. Think cheerleader. Bend them in. Drop the elbows. Press up. Now notice when you extend those arms up in that Y shape, are you rocking back to kind of counter that action? I don't want you to do that. So you need to brace the abdominals and almost lean into the exercise. Not that I want you to lean forward. I just want you to stay nice and tall. Rest. It's really just transition time. It's not much of a rest. Come into your hinged position. We have that 3-part combo. Tricep circle, we'll start. So circle the weights, palms face up. Give me a wide row. And then palms face in, give me a reverse fly. Again, where's the movement originating for that row and that fly? Your back. Your arms connect to your back. Weights go down. 3 tricep dips. Lift up into that reverse tabletop. Spread out through the hands, open through the chest. Hips come to a 1-inch hover. Make sure that your heels aren't in too close to your seat. Otherwise, when you lift up into this bridge position, your knees are going to be over your toes, and you want them over the heels. Keep wrapping those arms in so your elbows go straight back. When those hips lift up, don't roll forward with the tops of your shoulders. Think open. So this is a mobility exercise, not just strength. Woo. All right, I'm grabbing my 10-pound weights, narrow chest press. That overhead pull, lay it down. So because your elbows are staying tight into the sides of your body, when you do that narrow press, the weights aren't really coming down to your chest, they're kind of coming down to the top of your rib cage more. Done, weights go down. Final 45 seconds of work in this first circuit. Push up, hip slides. You got this. You can stay on your feet or drop to your knees for the push-ups. Open through the chest as you slide back. Come forward. Oh. All right, form's getting a little sloppy. I'm going to drop to my knees for the push-ups. If you're still feeling strong on your feet, stay on your feet. Rest. Okay, you have a minute to recover. I'm going to show you our next circuit. Circuit number 2 starts with some bicep work. It's going to be a circle curl, one direction, switch direction at the bottom, and then a crossbody curl, opposite fist towards opposite shoulder. From there, we are going to do a hammer curl to a front extension, and then a wide curl to a lateral extension. From there, it is going to be a shoulder sweep with a shoulder press at the top. We then ditch the weights for our last 2 exercises. First up, it's going to be a marching plank with a shoulder tap at the top, opposite hand to opposite shoulder. And then we lower down to a prone position. And from there, arms are going to lift up twice, keeping your nose touching the mat. And then the arms are going to lift up twice with a spinal extension, so the whole upper body will come up to that long, low hover. All right, let's do it 3 times through. I'm going to start with my 10-pound weights for the bicep circle curls and crossbody curls. So unlock your knees, neutral pelvis, core engaged, palms face forward. Open across your chest. So up and over, switch direction at the bottom. And then from here, 1 crossbody curl each side. So it is opposite hand in towards opposite shoulder. Forearms are staying parallel to each other as you do that circle curl. Now for the next exercise, still biceps, but adding in shoulders, I'll be dropping down to my 8-pound weights for those. Okay, so we're gonna do that hammer curl to the front extension, wide curl to the lateral extension. So palms facing towards each other to start. So hammer curl, front extension, reverse it. Now palms face forward. Wide curl, lateral extension in a wide V shape, and bring it down. Keep that going. Now when you do this front extension, don't counter it by rocking back on your heels, okay? Instead, you're going to engage through your abdominals and almost invite a slight lean into it. Rest. Okay, we have that shoulder sweep with a shoulder press at the top. So open through the chest. Now for this one, I'm going to take a staggered stance just so that I don't sink into my low back. So like you're tracing a snow angel, big circle up, bend the elbows, press them at the top, and then they sweep down with control, all right? Don't just let them drop down. A controlled lower. Work in both directions. Now, if you're taking the staggered stance like I am, make sure you're not leaning back into it, okay? It's supposed to just help you keep your pelvis neutral. Weights will go down after this one. We'll make our way down to the mat. Make your way down to the mat. Marching plank with a shoulder tap. Now I want as little rocking of the hips as possible as you do that march. Up, up, and then opposite hand to opposite shoulder. Try not to sway through the hips. And switch your lead arm every time when you do the march. Stay active through your legs. So picture you could lift your quads off your kneecaps. Reach those heels back. Rest. All right, prone position, but if you're pregnant, you can do it in a hinge position instead. Arms reach overhead, nose stays tapping the mat to start. Feet can be about as wide as your mat. So from here, arms lift twice, and now lift with a spinal extension. When you come into that spinal extension, your gaze just shifts to the front edge of your mat. Don't crane the neck. So this is a long lift, not a high lift, all right? So nose stays tapping the mat for 2 arm lifts, and then you add in that spinal extension, staying long through the back of the neck. Legs stay down on the mat, okay? Press the tops of your feet into them. Oh, and 30 seconds to rest. That one is tough. It takes a lot of shoulder mobility as well. Okay, you have 30 seconds here. We're gonna go through that circuit twice more. So let's do that little check-in. Do you need to go up in weights? Form is getting sloppy, maybe you go down. I'm gonna stick with what I did the first time. So we have circle curls, cross body curls. I'm gonna go with my 10-pound weights. Unlock the knees, core in tight, open through the chest. Circle curl once each direction. And then 1 cross body curl. Rest. Dropping down to my 8s. Hammer curl, front extension, wide curl, lateral extension. Hammer curl, front extension. Rotate. Curl, lateral extension. You can see your hands in your peripheral vision when you do that lateral extension. So don't go so wide that you're completely open through the front of your rib cage. And again, we're noticing, are you rocking when you do that front extension? It's hard not to, but instead, core control, gentle lean into it. It's not that I actually want you to lean forward, it's that I want you to prevent the lean back. Control it, okay? So slow it down. So it's not just a punch. You're not just punching the arms out and in. Extend, resist. Whew, rest. All right, we have that shoulder sweep with that press at the top. I'm going to take a staggered stance, do what works for you. If the sweep is not working for you, you can just do a straight press up and down. Rest, weights go down, make your way to the mat. Body weight, final 2 exercises. Marching plank with the shoulder tap up first. You could always modify this one by doing it from your knees, okay? So you're just gonna be modified plank, 1 march, shoulder tap. Otherwise, balls of the feet. Now, if you notice a ton of rocking of your hips, try separating your feet a little wider for stability. And then once you have it, you can bring them back into a normal distance. Now, when you do the shoulder taps, try not to totally lock out through the elbows. And you're really pressing the mat away so we have a stable position for our shoulder blades. Now, this core engagement you have right now in this plank, I want you to think of keeping it when we come to a prone position. All right, so lower all the way down to the mat. And what I mean by that is you're not pushing your stomach into the mat and arching into your back. You're still engaged. Arms overhead. Okay, lift the arms twice. Nose stays tapping the mat. And then lift with the extension. Maintain that connection to your core, very important. So it's not about how high you get. Think long and think of lifting from the base of your shoulder blades, not from your low back. This movement might be frustratingly small, okay? That is all right. And 30 seconds to rest. Now a note, if that one feels almost impossible because you're really tight through the shoulders, you have the option to do that modification I gave for pregnancy, or if you don't want to lay down, you would do it in a hinged position, okay? This just gives you more space to move the arms in front of you. The floor isn't there, okay? So don't feel like you can only take that modification if you're pregnant. No, do what works best for your body. You might just have tight shoulders. All right, under 5 minutes and then we cool down. You can do this. Circle curls, cross body curl. I'm using my 10-pound weight still for this one. This one and only this one. Forearms stay pretty parallel as you do the circle curl. Switch direction at the bottom. And then opposite hand toward opposite shoulder, keeping the elbows in pretty tight to the side of the body. Rest. Dropping down to my 8s. Hammer curl, front extension, wide curl, lateral extension, biceps and shoulders working here. Hammer curl, palms facing towards each other. Front extension, lower it down, rotate open. Wide V. I want these controlled, so maybe slow it down a little bit. That was a reminder to myself. I noticed I was using momentum to my advantage. Something very common as we start to fatigue. Whew, rest. Shoulder sweep, shoulder press. Last exercise using the weights. You got this. So it's shoulder work, but biceps too on that sweep. Control it down. So when you do that sweep, we have upward, downward rotation of our shoulder blades. But what I don't want is you to shrug the shoulders up towards your ears. We got it. Weights go down. All right, 2 exercises to go. Marching plank, shoulder tap, option to modify from your knees. Push the mat away. Let's go. Shoulder tap, shoulder tap. Make sure you're alternating your lead arm on those marches so that you're not always pressing up first with your dominant side. Now you're long through the back of the neck, so don't let your head droop down. Your gaze should not be at your feet. As little rocking of the hips as possible, so slow down those shoulder taps as much as needed. Oh, rest. All right, prone position or hinged position. Last 45 seconds of work. Arms reach overhead. Neutral through the spine, so you need to engage through the abdominals. So important. This is a core exercise too. 2 lifts of the arms with your nose tapping the mat, and then 2 adding in that spinal extension. If you're feeling pinching in your low back, try separating your feet a little wider. Sometimes that can help. You can do it. You are no stranger to this exercise if you've done my posture workshop or my shoulder mobility video. Oh, and done. Awesome job. Press yourself back into an active child's pose, or a shell stretch it's called in Pilates. So just find some flexion to kind of counter that extension we were just doing. So round the back up to the ceiling. A couple breaths here. And the knees can go wide, and let's just melt into this child's pose. A little moment of release. Now when you're ready, we're actually going to come back into a prone position for a little spinal twist and an opening through the shoulder and chest. I want you to take your right fingertips on the floor, elbow to the ceiling, and then reach your left arm long in a T shape. And you're going to take this right foot and you're just going to bring it up and over. So you feel a nice opening through the front of that left shoulder. I also just love spinal twisting in a cool down and a warm up. Feels so good. When you're ready, let's take it over to the other side. Roll through center this time. Right arm reaches long in a T, tent the left fingertips. Kick up and over into that twist. coming through center. I want you to press yourself up into a tabletop position. And from here, I want you to take the palms and one at a time, just flip them so the fingertips point in towards your knees. We're going to do a little forearm stretch. So maybe you just stay here. That might be a deep enough stretch as is. Otherwise, I just want you to shift back slightly. And I like to do it fluidly a couple times, so I just rock forward and back very gently. And then when you're ready, hold back. A few deep breaths here. When you're ready, rock forward and one at a time, flip the palms back in the normal direction, and then I want you to lower down to your forearms. Now from here, we're going to kind of come into almost a puppy stretch. So you're going to drop your forehead towards the mat, and digging your elbows in, I want you to lift your palms off of the mat and bring them into a prayer position behind your head. And you can bring your forehead all the way down to the mat. Now from here, I want you to feel a stretch through your triceps, the backs of the arms. So you might just need to slide your butt back a little bit until you do feel that opening through the triceps. A few deep breaths here. When you're ready, straighten out the arms. We're going to find a seated position. I'm just going to come to cross-legged. Let's finish with a fluid side body stretch because it feels good. Tent the fingertips on either side of you. You're going to take that right arm, sweep it up and over, side bending to the left. And then you're just going to move up and over to the other side, just fluidly flowing back and forth. Might feel good to add in a little rotation. Maybe as you come into that side bend over to the left, you spiral your chest slightly down towards the mat and then open up, come through center, other side. Little rotation down to the mat, up and over. One more time each side. And let's come through center and finish with one deep breath together. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. And exhale, release. Awesome work today. That is your class.